Hello there, Internet. My name is Mogwai, and ahead of us lies yet another brilliant day in the arena, as today we're going to showcase a deck that brings all the spice. I'm really excited to share this list, as it's quite the shakeup from yesterday's upload, which featured the deck that I used to climb to Mythic rank in Best of 3. This deck is all about the off-meta approach, the Mogwai approach, as we got a really spicy build that is essentially built around, as I like to call him, Fadapiter. I know this is going to trigger so many of you. Like, there's no R's in the name. There's no O's. Like, it has nothing. Like, the only thing in common is that it starts with an F. But I already have trouble enough pronouncing certain names. I don't even know where to begin here. Like, it hasn't changed. 5 years ago, I made the decision to call this guy Fadapiter. Fadapiter he is. If you cannot stand this, then click out of the video and watch something else, because we're going to be mentioning him as Fadapiter throughout the entire video, and I really want to clarify that and make sure we're on the same page. Fadapiter, Lost on the Range, is a 3-mana 1/1 legendary homunculus creature with Ward 2. So that means that whenever a permanent with Ward becomes a target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, we counter it unless they pay the Ward cost. So anything that they direct towards Fadapiter here, they need to pay 2 extra mana to be able to actually have the effect resolve, which makes it more difficult to clear this guy early on from the board, despite the fact that he's a 3-mana 1/1. Very low stat line for a 3-drop. What are we getting in exchange? One hell of ability, especially if you design the deck around it properly. And I'm going to get onto that in a moment. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. The top card of your library has plot. The plot cost is equal to the card's mana cost. You may plot non-land cards from the top of your library. What I thought, because I wanted to make a deck around this, right? And at first I was just staring at my screen for like an hour. I was like, what the hell am I going to do with you for that? But I have no idea. This is like really eluding me. But then, you know, my thought process landed somewhere. And it's just like, okay, what if I incorporate Fadapiter in a deck with the Explore mechanic? Because the Explore mechanic allows me to draw lands from the top of my deck and essentially surveil for cards, every other type of card that's not a land, right? So if I have a bunch of cards that explore, I can explore the lands out of the top of my deck, and then I can proceed to potentially plot the others with Fadapiter. But there are certain things that the deck, there are certain criteria that the deck has to meet in order for this to be consistently viable. And the main thing, in my opinion, is in a Fadapiter deck, you want to have a really, really low curve. The reasoning behind this is because if you have a really low curve, you're going to be able to plot cards for very little amount of mana, like 1 or 2 mana, and you're going to be able to essentially draw. It's a delayed draw from your deck. 1 mana, 1 mana, 1 mana, 2 mana. You're plotting all these cards, you're preparing them on the side. They cannot be discarded or interacted with besides exile mechanics, so they're pretty damn safe. And you're going to be able to essentially, like in many scenarios, draw an entirely new hand and just get tremendous value out of this card right here and ensure that despite our low curve, we do not run out of gas as easily. So that is why my curve is the way it is. You guys see, we have a bunch of 1-drops. I say 1-drops because 2 of the 5 cards here are not real 1-drops, but for the Fadapiter synergy, at least one of them works really well into it. We have the Spyglass Siren, we have the Sonoti Scout, and we have the Jadelight Spelunker. The Spyglass Siren is not a Merfolk, but upon entry will give us a map token, which we can use to explore. So she also helps us out, because the biggest proactive engine in this deck, you know, besides like the value aspect of Fadapiter, is Nikanzil, the Current Conductor. This is a Simic 2-drop with a 2/3 stat line, a legendary Merfolk Scout creature that says whenever a creature you control explores a land card, you can put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Whenever a creature you control explores a non-land card, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on Nikanzo Current Conductor. This means that she effectively duplicates your explore procs by either allowing you to ramp if you're drawing lands, or by growing up in stats herself. and doubling the +1/+1 counters you would be obtaining through this. Nikanzo, Current Conductor with something like Jade Light Spelunker in the endgame can be a very powerful combination, as the more mana you invest into the X value, the more Explore procs you'll be able to get off with Nikanzo. You can actually turn this into a huge like ramp play potentially, while also just generating a lot of stats too. So with Nikanzo and our Merfolk shell, we focus on exploring, and we have a low curve of creatures that can progressively grow, right? And you're also able to effectively surveil through the top of your deck, so you find the right pieces, as we are very much capable of outpacing most decks in best of one, and we can easily match the speed of the most fast-paced aggressive decks as well. As we have an excellent source of removal for green in Hard-Hitting Question. Hard-Hitting Question is but a 1 mana sorcery removal that says target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. This card is pretty meta-defining for green as a whole. A lot of like creature-based green decks run this card as a full set because it is just very efficient removal for very little mana that has a requirement of you having like a strong presence on the board. So that's what kind of like balances the card. But ultimately, if you have a deck that's able to do that easily, then all of a sudden you have just a super reliable way of dealing with the opponent's threats with little mana investment as well. That's why we're also playing the Pharaoh Encounter. Pharaoh Encounter is a 2 mana sorcery for green that looks at the top 5 cards of your library, and then you can exile a creature card from among them. You can put the rest on the bottom of your library in any random order, and then you can cast the card that you exiled that very turn. Otherwise, the card will be exiled permanently. But because of the low curve of our deck, we can find a cheap unit with this card and play it on the very same turn that we play. And on top of that, at the beginning of the next combat phase, so you play this in main phase 1, most often than not, before the combat, when the combat begins, you can select a creature you control, and it does the same thing as Hard-Hitting Question does. That creature deals damage to its power to up to 1 target you don't control. So it's like a second variation of Hard-Hitting Question in this deck that also allows us to draw and find other creatures to get the momentum rolling. So I really like it in this deck. All of these cards are very easy to plot with the Vidopeter, and that's why I also really like the Spree cards. That's why I gave the shoutouts to Kobe Bryant, because he's the one who gave me the suggestion of incorporating Spree cards into this deck, because the initial cost of the Spree cards is listed right there. It's only 1 mana, but then you can pay extra mana to actually trigger some of these abilities. But when you plot this card with Vidopeter here, you get to plot it for just 1 mana, and then when you play it, you get to actually pay the mana that you want for the effects that you want. This isn't a perfect synergy with 3 Steps Ahead specifically, because when you plot a card, you can only cast it as a sorcery, which means that you cannot use the plotted 3 Steps Ahead to counter a spell. But you can still use it to create a token of a creature you control, or use it to draw 2 cards for 2 mana and discard a card, which is really nice. It's not perfect, but it allows this kind of deck to run a counter spell without having that counter spell clunk up your Vidopeter play. And I really, really value that. As another Spree card that we have in this deck is the Shifting Grift. And this card is perhaps one of the most top performing ones in the deck, as it's a very wacky card, but it doesn't seem like it fits in this deck at first, but then when you think about it, it makes all the sense, right? With the Spree, if we pay 2 mana on top of the 2 blue mana, we get to exchange control of 2 target creatures. While there are scenarios in which we could utilize the ability to exchange control of like artifacts, we can basically generate a map token with like Spyglass Siren or with Sentinel of the Nameless City, and we can swap it with like a really powerful artifact from the opponent. Like, we do have that option as a play. Most often than not, we're going to be going for the first option, in which we can swap one of our weaker units, like let's say a Spyglass Siren, for example, for something like a Sheoldred Apocalypse that we can't really deal with our board initially. We can steal it. We can steal these high-value game-winning creatures and swap them with a pretty much worthless one. And this allows us to bypass certain creatures that are Hard-Hitting Question and Pharaoh Encounter are just not powerful enough to deal with otherwise. And we can plot it with Vidopeter and use it whenever later down the line, only paying 2 mana for it later, which is amazing. So I really, really like this card. You're going to see this card shine in today's video. Like, it's pretty amazing. So we cap out at Sentinel of the Nameless City alongside Vidopeter, a 3 mana Very, very good 3-drop. Excellent 3-drop, honestly. Fantastic stat line. The Vigilance allows you to attack with this card without having to worry about leaving yourself wide open. And you keep generating maps whenever you attack. This is an engine in itself, while also potentially a win condition too. Like I said, the stat line is stellar. A 3-4 for 3 mana is fantastic, especially one that can snowball and keep on growing. I can't say enough good things about Sentinel of the Nameless City. Definitely a good use of your rare wall card for a green card, in my opinion. Even though there are also other options. There's a lot of good there's a lot of good green creatures. Shocker. The color that excels in creature quality, right? But that is the deck right there. Jayla Splunker is kind of like the top end of our curve, though, because we can use that X value, and we can use this guy early on when we don't have anything better else to do, but we can also just tap a lot of mana that we can potentially ramp into with likes of Nikenzo into a super crazy Explore effect with this guy as well. But the deck is pretty basic in that sense. Low curve, Merfolk synergy, Explore, buff your little dudes, get them a little bit stronger, push damage, have really cheap but efficient removal to out-tempo the opponent and beat down their health to 0. That's how we do it. We're running against a deck that's played more the value game, and we're losing a little bit of momentum and card advantage. Fadopter comes in and just plots a billion cards in a row. We explore the lands out of the way, and you're good to go, man. It's a really, really solid deck. Cavern of Souls is there for the Merfolk, so we have a way to also bypass counterspells from blue-based matchups. And overall, I've found really, really good success with this deck, and I'm going to showcase that in today's video. And I'm really happy that I found like an actual legit deck with this card. It's a really fun card, and you're going to see it pop off today. So yeah, I'm going to stop talking. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for daily Magic the Gathering Arena content. Hope you enjoy the games. Leave a like for Fadopter, or however the fuck you want to call him. And I'm gonna go. Love ya. Have a slow day. Enjoy the matches. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, here we go. That's a tech that I'm testing. That's ready, but that deck is gonna be a little bit later because today, Merfolk. Today we play Merfolk. All right. Interesting hand. It's not generally what I'm accustomed to with this deck, but I'm going to keep it. It's a 3-lander. We have double island for the 3 steps ahead. We don't have mana for Feral Encounter, which is one of the things that I'm concerned about. But we have Fadopter. It seems to be a Boros deck. It seems to be a Boros deck, and I want to play you. Because dealing with this with the 2 ward is difficult for them. There, see, that's what I'm talking about. I do want to play you first. I'm gonna develop the Cavern of the Souls and select Merfolk. That way I can play this. But I can plot that after. And then I can do this. And use Fadopter's ability to plot that. No attacks, call that a turn. Because now we have a Sinoti Scout with enough of a stat line to block into the Copper Code Vanguard. They're gonna attack with that. We're gonna take it. There's a land right there and a 3 steps ahead. But now I can, at the very least, I can do this. Play that for free. Preserve our counterspell, I guess. Preserve our blockers in the back. This Thalia just keeps pushing through. But as long as I'm not like super pressured, I'm just gonna take it, honestly. Like I'm gonna go down to 9. They're still like, they're at 2 mana. End of the turn, I'm gonna go for 3 steps ahead. And I'm gonna draw 2 cards. I'm gonna draw 2 cards. I'm gonna discard the Fedopater. And call that a turn. There's... Okay. I think right now what we do is we play the Jade Light Splunker because we have Nikanzil, Current Conductor on the board. So we play this, we select 4, and that means we're going to explore 4 times. And I really like that there. 2, 3, 4. That removal is neat, but let's actually get rid of it just because yeah. Nikanthil gets to explore 4 times, so now we have like a really strong... Yeah, now you're not attacking, are you? Oh yeah. And now we can Fedopater to start. Oh baby. We have the hard-hitting question. I really want to get rid of this Thalia. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot that. I'm going to play the Yamiyavaya Coast. And I'm going to go with the hard-hitting question. And I'm going to start swinging because I can't also like fall asleep. I have to put them on the clock. But we plotted the Sentinel of the Nameless City. They finally get... Oh, they're actually Mardu. I think at this point I can block with you. I don't think we need to be super greedy. I think Fedopater has done his job. Round of applause for Fedopater. Well done. I do really want to get rid of you. I'm really tired of you. Let's play Sentinel, the Nameless City. Plotted for free. And I think Feral Encounter is the way to go. Look at the top 5 cards of library. You may cast the exile card's turn. At the beginning of the next combat phase, target creature that deals damage equal to... And I do want to really like... Maybe like nuke you, honestly. I don't know why. It's like, okay, let's tap you. So like this. Okay. I'm gonna take you. Did a lot of thinking there, you know, because I was very low on health. I probably didn't select the right one because I had to play it that turn, so I should have probably selected the 1-drop instead. This Thalia was actually really annoying, but I think you have to overcome a card being annoying and be like, okay, I can win with this card is obnoxious, but I can actually win with it on the board. I have to get rid of like the other guys first because that'll weaken her significantly. And yeah, we just really good. We really showcased Fedopater from the get-go, just like being able to plot cards and just get tremendous value and keep up a really fast pace as well. So this deck is just, this deck never disappoints. I'm gonna stop rambling, but I really like it. So, game 2. All right, round 2. Sometimes I get a little bit worried with Magic Arena, man, because it feels like the servers are very unstable. Maybe it's just me, but it's like this constant uncertainty, like that the game is gonna crash, you know? Maybe Wizard of the Coast could do a little bit of a better job making a more stable server, because... Alright, we got quite a few lands here. We're gonna lead off with the Spyglass Siren. Not a Merfolk, but will give us a map that we can use to explore. We have Nikanzil here, the current conductor. We see Boros, but I don't know what that is. Whenever a creature you control dies, scry 1 and put an oil counter on Norn's Wellspring. Remove 2 oil counters, draw a card. Okay, so like a value engine. Interesting. I'm gonna play the Cavern of Souls. I'm gonna select Merfolk. I'm gonna play Nikenzil. I'm gonna swing. I'm gonna hope that they don't have a removal for her immediately, because part of me wants to like preserve her for later because of the value that she can net us. But I'm not really sure what I'm facing here. I think it's a more reactive deck, so maybe placing her here was a mistake. Okay. Well, that sucks. I do want to use this here, though. That's good. That is something we can keep for sure. Next turn we can play the Sentinel and also make use of the map as well. That's annoying. Worried about a board wipe at 4. Or that. With this enchantment, this is just not going to cut it. We have to try to ride the Sentinel of the Nameless City and make use of our counter spells here. And we counter that. I kind of just want to play you. We're vulnerable to like a board wipe now, but we just got to keep going. Thankfully, that's just not enough. Back-to-back Brotherhood ends, but the Sentinel of the Nameless City with that stat line getting us the win. This is probably the card that I find the most annoying in Best of One Standard, personally. I'm like in the way right now, but if I move here, you can see it. Like, each player cannot cast more than one spell each turn. Like, this card is... if I had to pick one card that I just dislike the most, it's probably this one. Because it's super polarizing, and it feels really bad to be locked into this in a best of one scenario and not be able to do anything about it. But it feels really good to have been able to power through that. But this card completely rendered most of our strategy, like, useless. And it's a very dangerous card indeed. But we took it down. On to the next. Technical Lich is our third opponent, and we got a 3-lander right here with the Cavern of Souls. Pretty damn good looking curve. Like, nothing bad to say about this opening hand. This is a pretty slick opening hand. And I'm just happy that I got, like, my first game, I got to showcase Fatapiter. Fuck yeah. I'm going to go Spyglass Siren. Turn 1, generate that map token. We're going to pile these up. And we're going to see if we can really capitalize on an early Nikenzo here. We're gonna play you. Gonna select MerFolk. Gonna play you there. We wanna develop Nikenzo before we start exploring. Let's see what they got. There's Selesnya so far. We could see an enchantment-based removal from Nikenzo. There's no Bristy Bill. Bristy Bill is a huge threat, and we just literally drew the answer. Because we're that good at the game, man. Because we're so good at the game. We're gonna play the Yamibaya Coast. Because we're gonna be playing Siren into that. So we're gonna be playing that. We play you. All right, we generate another one. We tap this for colorless mana, and we explore onto you. We have another Spyglass Siren there, but I want to get rid of that for now. And now we go for the hard-hitting question. Get rid of Bristy Bill, because Bristy Bill will really snowball. Punch through. Get a clean swing on them. This deck is very, like, aggressive. Like, it's capable of like, a lot of tempo early. Especially with Nikenzo. Like, this 2-drop is bananas. Who are you? Whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are put on Dusk Legion Duelist, draw a card. Okay. Interesting. I kind of want to develop the Sentinel of the Nameless City. But also having a counter spell in the back is nice. I just kind of want to have more lands. But if I go for an Explorer with this map and I don't get what I need, then I'm gonna run out of gas. So I'm gonna. What is the best play here? I think keeping it chill and just attacking with these two. I could keep the counter spell open. What am I afraid of here on turn 4? A lot of things could happen, but I think I'm gonna develop you. I'm gonna develop Sentinel of the Nameless City. Fedopater here, like, we don't have the mana to really capitalize on this. We want to set this up. We could have countered that, but I believe we can also handle that.
We can save everyone.
They draw a card as. Okay, so it becomes an angel and gains flying. So it has flying and vigilance here. Okay. But this is something that we can handle. I'm gonna go ahead and tap you. And I'm gonna start buffing my strongest attacker here. Really want to get rid of her. Punch with you.
Can't let evil win.
And now that we're ramping because of the Zankill, now is when Fedopater comes in and does a lot more. This turn we're a little bit vulnerable. Okay, they just set up those two. They attack with that. We cannot block into it. We take the hit. But now we're looking at a different scenario. We could play, if we play Fedopater's turn, we have to leave the thing open for 3 steps ahead. We have to be careful here. I kind of want to play you instead. Attack with these two. Force some trades here. They just take the hit. They're playing at the limit. We just need to have... I like that there. We just need to have the 3 steps ahead enabled. Now we have 2 blockers that we can actually trade into the Dust Legion Duelist. Okay, they swap those 2 lands. If 1 or more permanents will be put on a permanent, put that many at. Okay, so yeah, that's something that we can ignore for now. We just need to make sure that we have an answer for they get to draw. They're pumping up their units. It's a big hit. But they're leaving themselves vulnerable here. Okay. 2 blockers. We just need to block with you into you. Then there's 9 incoming. We just need to block with you into you. I don't even need to give away, like, these units. I just need to block like this. Go down to 2. And that's, you know, Magic the Gathering Combat 101. Doing the bare minimum to make sure we don't die. And they leave themselves wide open for retaliation. So, yeah. Very nice. Very nice. That was a tense situation because they had a lot of snowbally synergies going on there, and they were pumping up counters faster than I initially expected. But we apply a lot of pressure as well, and really showcasing the value of Nikenzo right here. This game was a little bit too fast paced for Fidopter personally. Though if I had a little bit more time, I could have definitely developed him there. And having the hard-hitting question as a top deck would have allowed us to remove this blocker right here, leaving them with just only 1 blocker available, and us going with a full swing and putting them down. So, yeah, you gotta think about, you know, you gotta think about more than the present turn when you're playing Magic. Like when you're going for attacks and swings, you're like, okay, can I survive if they go back at me? No, maybe I shouldn't attack, right? Pro tip: let's go for the low one. Chef Guapo. Let's see what Chef has cooked. As we got no 1-drops, but we have a pretty smooth, full Simic land source here, and we can go Nikenzo. Like, the thing is, Nikenzo into Sentinel of the Nameless City is kind of slow, especially considering our opponent is going first. But we also don't know what we're going to draw on top of that, so I'm going to keep this. If I can find some 1-drop Explorers, that would be amazing. Let's drop the Restless Vinestalk. Since we have no turn 1 play anyways, let's get that tap land out of the way. We see Rakdos. Bat. I wonder what Bat's going to take. I mean, should take Nikenzo if they know what they're doing. But instead, they take 3 steps ahead, which is funny. That could also mean that they have removal for this. So they're not concerned about creatures per se. They really want that counter spell out of the way though, which is interesting. We're gonna try to just keep, oh. You may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. Okay. Hungry for more. Flashback. Create a 3/1 black and red vampire. Creatures looking with trample. Yeah, okay. I want to go Jade Light Splunker. Even though we have Sentinel of the Nameless City, like, I really want to go for this because I get to explore twice. And that's really... Don't have a cut down, please. Oh my goodness. Okay. There's another counter spell there, and they definitely don't want that. If you have a cut down and you don't play now, you're just out of your mind. But I didn't think that to be the case. I'm gonna keep that counterspell. Because with these two on the board, I have enough pressure. And I have just the mana to enable it. And they know that. They know the counterspell is going for what. So whatever they do now, like whatever, like they want to do whatever they want to do now. Spells you cast this turn that are black or red cost X less to cast, where X is the amount of life you lost this turn. A Fairy Dream Thief as well. Okay. They do have the resources to deal with that. I'm gonna continue to attack. They know we have counter spells available now. Spells you cast one less to cast. Okay, I mean, they know we have the counter spell. Like, my question is, can we afford to go one turn? I think we can. And we can develop you. I really want that map. I want to keep synergizing with Nicantho. Next turn I can untap and I can keep the counter spell open, but this does leave me wide open here. Like, this could be a mistake here, but I just don't think they can develop something. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, see that's big, but maybe I should have kept the counterspell open. But I mean, they didn't really gain much from that. They got a 7/6 with trample. Are you gonna swing with everything? 10, 7, 10? 10. No way. No way you just did that. I'm gonna play like this. I'm gonna see if I can cover a bit in the back. Okay. Shieldred. They attack me with those, like... They have another spell. Nah, I feel like they're baiting me. I feel like they're baiting me here, but if they play that, can I reasonably like win? That's the problem, because they have like 3 blockers in the back, and they put me in a precarious position. I have to counter this, even if they're baiting me. I have to counter this nonetheless, because I just cannot. I cannot win. Like I know they're probably baiting me here. They did okay. They had 2. I have to draw here. So I'm gonna swap and I'm gonna take Shieldred. They plot the big score. They draw into a card there. We hit them for 2 life. Oh my goodness. They're gonna ping at us, but we survive! Oh. Okay. 2 blockers. We can hit them for that, and I think we got him. We got him! We got him! Oh, the grift! Oh, man. Oh, I thought that game was slipping from me, dude. I went to look at the battlefield. I wanted to go over this card. Oh, my God. The MVP. Oh, man. That was so tight. That was so tight. That game was crazy. I thought I was going to lose my 93, but we kept it, baby. The Shifting Grip. This is like the card that is more like, what the hell is this doing here? But this card has won me so many otherwise unwinnable games because we just don't, like, this card is for like threats like Shieldred that we just cannot remove, right? We have 4 hard-hitting questions and we have the Pharaoh encounter, but sometimes shit is just like really big. And we want to be able to take it and swap one of our weaker units. That was amazing. Let's keep going. MT3. Are you playing RAKDOS, sir? Double MegaMogwai Coast, double Cenote Scout. Oh, that's a hand. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a hand. I'm going to try to avoid any sort of damage if I can, so I'm going to go for the Boseiju. Even though that could prove to be useful later. It could also just be mono red, and every ounce of damage counts, so taking damage from MegaMogwai Coast could be a one-way ticket to an L. We see the swamp. It is an aggressive deck. For certain, it is an aggressive deck. We're going to go ahead and develop the Cavern of the Souls. No. MegaMogwai Coast. Well, let's go Cenote Scout first. Explore again. I kind of like Fedopiter here. He can definitely go a long way. I'm going to drop the Spyglass Siren. And I'm going to keep you in the back. We have the early curve to withstand fast aggression. Trade into that. We're going to swing here. And then we're going to play the MegaMogwai Coast again. And we're going to go Fedopiter. Early Fedopiter. Gonna allow us to play for nutty value here with a 2 ward. Unless they have a countdown, a cut down, and a 3rd land, they cannot kill him. There's Gix. There's Gix. What do we got on top? We got the Shifting Griffs. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna be plotting this. And we're gonna be plotting you. And that's a good card to draw. Let's play Merfolk. And let's go ahead and... I really don't want them to draw. So I'm gonna, in case they have like removal for the scout here, I'm gonna make sure they just do not draw. Okay, so case of the Stash Skeleton, generating a suspect skeleton, cannot block but has menace, and I am so gonna trade into that. Are you kidding me? Oh yeah, that must mean they have another one in hand. They can also bring that back. Okay, good play. All right. Fedopiter here gonna just net us tremendous value. And they also didn't want me to steal. I think they didn't want me to steal the Gix. I think that's why they attacked. That's hilarious. The thing is, like, the Cavern of Souls doesn't work with that, so I'm gonna play the Cavern of Souls here. I'm gonna select Merfolk again, but this time I'm gonna tap you and you and you to plot you, and now I can play you. Explore, draw that forest, open up that. Okay, we still have that going on. We have the hard-hitting question, but I don't really feel the need to go for it right now. I am going to go with you. Ping at them for a moment. I don't like this map being used now, because I'm already gonna draw. Like, I know I'm gonna draw into that, but I can plot with this after. There's Gisa, okay. And I am gonna block with these two. Need to be careful here. We wanna grift them. That means we need that and that, so we're gonna attack with you. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna tap you. We're gonna tap you. And then we're gonna and Gisa's ours. And now we can go for this. Onto this. And I'm gonna make I'm gonna give it to you. Draw that land. My Gisa! Not yours. Oh my god. Oof, oof, that is a desperate Takenuma. Did they actually find nothing? Oh my god, that was like a Takenuma from, oh no, yeah, they got Gix. But they did all that. Oh my, oh my, oh man. Oh man, that Griff, that card is just stellar. Now we can start plotting, ladies and gentlemen. But they run anyway. I love that combo. God, that was sick.